Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Jim's 5am Club. It's Saturday morning and I'm on my way to work, and it's a very misty, foggy morning. It's quite interesting indeed. So what we'll do is we'll go on a walk and talk like we normally do, heading through this Tinder 11 coloured rainbow, and we'll see where this day takes us. Very sad news this morning to hear the early passing of another cricket legend, Shane Warne, at the age of 52. So young, what a shock. And I guess Sydney town today is mourning that loss with this mistiness and this foggy start to the day. What a loss. Shane Warne, what a legend. Anyway, what can we do? Each of us have an allotted time called a lifetime to do whatever we can to achieve our hopes and dreams. And today's book summary is going to talk a little bit more, instruct us a little more on this particular topic. So the book summary today that I'm going to go through is called the Nicomachean Ethics. Nicomachean Ethics, and it's a book, a set of 10 books that was put together over 2,500 years ago by Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher. So he was the third of the group of philosophers that became famous. We had Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle was the third one in that particular grouping. And let's not forget there were many schools of philosophical thought in ancient Greece. And I go to Bible study, and we're currently doing some of Solomon's writings. King Solomon, who mentioned back then, around about 2,700 years ago, I think, that there's nothing really new in the world. Whatever we think of today, whatever thoughts that we have that we think may be original, have been thought of by other people over the years. So there's nothing really new in the world. So this book, or this set of 10 books by Aristotle, and incidentally, Aristotle was Alexander the Great's mentor. So just goes to show how significant his input and his contribution was, that he had people such as Alexander the Great as his students. So I'm just walking to the end here of the International Passenger Terminal, and believe it or not, I can't make out the Opera House, I can't make out the Harbour Bridge, but hopefully over the next 15 to 20 minutes when I do this vlog, they'll start to magically appear, just like some of the lessons from this book summary will magically appear as well. So just let me get to the end here, put down my bag and my umbrella, and we can commence our lesson. So thank you once again for joining us and being part of this journey, and we'll see what we can learn today from the great Aristotle. As I say, it's a misty morning. and we can't even see the Harbour Bridge. I can't even see the Opera House, which is over there, and Circular Quay has disappeared. So the Nicomachean Ethics by Aristotle. So he kicks off with a quote, that we've selected a quote from this book just to get us into the mood, where Aristotle says that whoever is delighted in solitude is either a beast or a god. So I guess what he's trying to suggest there is that humans are social. We are social animals, and we all have a purpose, and we all have a need. We have a need to socialize, to integrate, to work with other people, and to go on a journey and to deliver something at the end of the journey. And to understand that we all have a limited time on earth, and yet many of us lead mundane, boring lives, as if we think that we are going to exist and to live forever. So Aristotle reminds us that life is a journey. It can be a journey of 10 years, 10 minutes, 100 years. Most of us will enjoy a journey of 70. The average life is 70 to 80 for those who are that lucky and that fortunate. But Aristotle reminds us that life is a journey that leads to somewhere. It has a purpose. We are here on this planet, on Earth, for a limited amount of time to do something, to achieve something, to experience something. And we need to achieve a particular purpose, and each of us have a different purpose. Each of us have a calling or callings. But in order for us to achieve our purpose, our calling in life, we need to also manage our mind, train our mind, else we end up going nowhere and doing nothing. Because there are a lot of distractions that come in the way, and the last thing we want is to get to the end of our lives and look back and say to ourselves, we had all of these opportunities, we had all of these paths, we had all of these openings, we had all of these people in our lives, connections, networks, we had education, we made money, we had money, and yet we didn't really express ourselves to our fullest ability and reach our full potential. So Aristotle talks about the importance of self-fulfillment and eudaimonia, a Greek word called eudaimonia. And he says that fulfillment and contentment and eudaimonia is more than just being happy. We hear a lot about, the importance or the challenge of trying to be happy. But Aristotle, 2,500 years ago, reminded us that there's more to life than just being happy. We need to go even above that and reach a state of contentment, where we will find peace and serenity. So one of the highest sort of achievements that man can reach is where they're peaceful and they're experiencing serenity. One of the beauties of the Christian faith, what I love about the Greek Orthodox Church, is where we are reminded of how important it is to find peace. And Jesus himself was the one who was the center of love, the source of love, and he tells us, peace be unto you. The most important thing is to reach and to achieve and to express a level of peace and contentment in our lives. So this book summary summarizes the 10 books that Aristotle put together, and it's important that it helps us clear the clutter in our minds, in our lives, to allow us to express our best self. So according to Aristotle, our goal in life, the most important thing that we have, is to be able to express our best self, and for each and every one of us to achieve our full potential. So what is eudaimonia? The first formal point that comes from this book is where Aristotle reminds us and teaches us, instructs us that eudaimonia is more than happiness. It is a state of self-actualization. And where else have we heard of this term? Of course, Maslow's pyramid of needs. So it just goes to show that, for the uninitiated, for those who don't know their history, don't know their philosophy, many would think that Maslow was the father of self-actualization with his pyramid. But in actual fact, it's been talked about much, much earlier in history. And we have an example here where Aristotle talks about the importance of reaching self-actualization in terms of being the highest form of a person's life. So once again, it reinforces what King Solomon says in his scriptures, in his scriptural writings there in the Old Testament, that there's nothing new in the world. What we think is original, what we think is authentic and different, has been around since the beginning of time. So what else can we learn from these 10 books from Aristotle? And it's important to understand that Aristotle disagreed with the conventional definition of happiness and success. And very much so in today's society, in today's world, the same problems occur where people seem to think that happiness and success is based on materiality, the material possessions that one have, the car that one drives, the clothes that one wears, the postcode that one has, the job title that one boasts. All of those, and I think we all understand very, very clearly in our lives, especially when you get older, that none of that really matters all that much. I remember as a young executive back in my days at IBM, my manager, Greg Leeson, once invited me and suggested that I put together a dreams list where I just sit down for 3 or 4 hours and just write down all the things that I want to do in my life, all the things that I want to achieve in my life. And I sat down, I followed his instruction, and I did that. And you realise very, very quickly after 10 or 20 points that you write down, that there's a limit to how many houses you can have, how many cars you can have, how many trinkets you can accumulate before you realise that it really doesn't mean all that much. The more important things in life is to have family, to have relationships, and to have shared experiences. And this is the sort of thing that Aristotle instructs us on as well. So that rather than us spending our days accumulating materialistic things and living in a materialistic state of mind and to expect happiness, what's more important is that we aim for pure fulfillment and self-actualization. I've forgotten what the word is, evdaimonia. Let me have a look at it again so I can remind myself. Evdaimonia. Evdaimonia is how you live and what you do, rather than what you accumulate and what you have. So there's a big difference there, and there's a call to action for each and every one of us to try and find fulfillment and self-actualization in our lives, which is more than just the things that we own and the things that we accumulate. So the goal, according to Aristotle, is to find fulfillment in what we do. And it's a combination, it's a collaboration of mind, heart, and soul. And we must all, each and every one of us, strive to reach our full potential, to become excellent as individuals, to become role models, and rather than to be just examples and billboards for for Ferrari and postcodes and Versace and all the clothing brands. I remember reading another book. I forget the author. It'll come to me at some point. But he said, and he reminded us, and it was a bit of a shock, where he says that each and every one of us basically only reach about 20% of our potential, which sounds like a real waste, waste of a life. And once again, it's a call to action to try and reach our full potential. As parents, one of our biggest struggles is to work with our children and our grandchildren to help them reach their potential. And it breaks your heart when you're seeing people who are not reaching or not on the path to reaching their full potential. But I guess the big lesson for each and every one of us is, given time and given a full lifetime, many people can achieve a lot of things within their allotment of their lifetime. Which brings us to our second formal point from Aristotle, where he says that eudaimonia takes a lifetime to achieve, and it requires excellence in our endeavours every day of our lives. So there's a call to action here to make the most of every opportunity, make the most of every day. And happiness is virtuous. It's the virtuous activity of the soul. Once again here, it's interesting to note that Aristotle believes in the soul. I've heard of professors who are world authorities on how the brain operates, who will swear blind that there is no soul. It's all the brain. And yet 2,500 years ago, we had people such as Aristotle, Greek philosophers, talking about the soul, and it's the center of our spiritual guidance in terms of our religion, to understand that our being is made up of both a physical and a spirit, plus an intelligent soul. So eudaimonia takes a lifetime to achieve and requires excellence in our endeavours. So we need to live with virtue, and by living in virtue will help us achieve arete, which is another Greek concept which talks about excellence and potential. So what do we need to do? So Aristotle says more than having, the trappings of life, you need to be the Ferrari, you need to be the postcode, you need to be a champion, you need to be the role model. So rather than owning these things, you need to be able to express these things in terms of who you are and what you do. And in order to achieve eudaimonia and to express arete, according to Aristotle, we need to have things such as self-control, prudence in our decisions, be moral in what we do the right thing, even when people are not watching you. It talks about modesty. It talks about being patient, and most importantly of all, what we try and do in our lives is to achieve a balance where we eat, but we don't eat too much. We don't eat too little. Everything we do in a balance where one supports the other, where we don't overdo things. Because what Aristotle reminds us of, and once again, a lot of pop psychologists and modern authors seem to talk about these things as if that they've invented them their very selves. But Aristotle says that habit is the key to who we are, because we are what we constantly do. And to think that Aristotle uttered these words 2,500, 2,300 years ago, so many generations ago, is just absolutely remarkable. So the last formal point to come from this book is where the author says that to be a great person, you need to be magnanimous, you need to be generous, you need to be honourable, and to live greatly. I remember years ago going to the ballet, and there was this older lady who sat next to us. We had the same seats. We were subscribers to the Australian Ballet, and she said once at one of the ballets that Steve Heathcote is so generous as a dancer that he makes his partners and the other dancers look so wonderful and so great. And I remember how that impacted me, how impressed I was with that statement, that a person can be so generous that they make others look great around them. This effortlessness, this greatness is, and this generosity is really, really important. And Aristotle reminds us here that you need to have a high opinion of yourself, and the most important thing in life is to be generous and to give back, to share, to commune, and to be a leader and to support those people around you, so that not only you get to express your calling, but you invite others around you to express and to live their calling, so that one hand washes the other and both wash the face. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode, this special Sydney morning episode of Jim's 5am Club, on this wonderful day where we've got the Harbour Bridge shrouded in cloud and mist, the Opera House only now just becoming visible, and Circular Quay still not moving because of the cloud. We've got some fish down there jumping around. And I wish you a happy Saturday, and thank you for joining me on this episode, which was a beauty. I absolutely love talking about ancient Greek philosophers because it reminds me, once again, that there's a lot of knowledge lot of wisdom that has been captured over time, and I invite each and every one of us to continue to grow, develop, and to be life learners, and to reach arete, and to reach evdaimonia in our lives, and to live with excellence, and not to waste our time striving for postcodes, brands, clothes, and all the trappings in life, but to be an example, to be a support to other people, so that we live a purposeful life. Because at the end of the day, as my spiritual father tells me, the meaning of life, the purpose of life, is firstly and foremostly to serve God and to do things that are God-pleasing, and secondly, to support and serve our fellow man. So thank you very much. We'll chat again. Bye for now, and happy Saturday and happy weekend. Bye for now.